let's get into this video. I have two video ideas that I want to cover before I stop uploading for today. And this is going to be the first one out of the two. And that one is announcing that I am going to create a 1 year life transformation journey when it's August time. I'll plan for it to come out on the 21st of August. I probably would have stopped filming all of the content a few days before so that I could schedule it and make sure that it comes up, that it's uploaded by the 21st of August. Well, here we are. I said I'd have this video come out for the 21st of August, and here I am getting the clips ready to have the video uploaded by that time on the 16th. The same day that I've come back home and have had to hold the news that I didn't pass the test the first time. I accepted it with dignity, but I didn't go off feeling angry or sad after. I didn't try and act fake, try and act happy when in reality I was feeling unhappy about it. That I didn't act fake. For the test, but anyway, here we go. That is relevant because we're talking about life transformation journey, but I'll talk about it later on in the video. So here goes. I want to talk about the story where I've come from and how I've progressed. And I want to start off here. I want to start off with the video that I made on day 7 of this journey, titled New Year, Much Improved Me. I've edited the video so you can see my thoughts today of what I said back then, which you'll see in text written on the screen as you hear me speak on that day, the 1st of January 2022. Anyway, enough of me talking for now. Here goes. Let's play the clip. Now, I'm going to talk about the title, which is New Year, Much Improved Me, instead of New Year, New Me, because it's not like I'm completely changing the person who I am. I've already put myself in a position where I'm steering my life in the direction that I want it to head in. For example, I'm now taking care of my health more than ever in terms of training and in terms of what I eat. I'm doing that more than ever. Okay. I certainly have slipped up every now and then. For example, yesterday, last dinner, I had pasta and chicken, and some fried chicken on the side. And then for sauce for the pasta and chicken, I had salad, cream and mayo. Very, very simple. However, this year, I have my meal plan on my wardrobe, so all I have to do is just follow it, and that is what I will do. But yeah, New Year much improved me. I'll look so much more different than I do now, and I'll do what it takes for my life to be extremely different than what it is now, in a way that I like and in a way that I enjoy. I'm certainly going to do what it takes to drastically improve my decision, my position in life. If I do, I'll receive so many benefits, perhaps benefits that I can't even think of. And if I don't, I may feel, or I may start to become bitter about the position that I would have put myself in by not doing what it takes to improve my situation, by improving my health and other things in my life. And in my head, I'm thinking, I can't afford that. But I would instead say, I refuse for that to happen. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I don't change in a way that I like in some way. That just won't happen. So I'm going to do what it takes to keep on improving, and I can sure as hell start off with these planks. And also there are other things that I'm working on. But I'll leave that out of this planking journey. However, yeah, my abs certainly will be showing a lot more by doing these planks every day. And I predict that will help me out with other exercises such as my push-ups, because I will be strengthening my core. And if I'm not mistaken, you need your core to push down. You need to tense your core as you push up for sure, or otherwise your ass may fall down as you push up. So you basically be using your back to push yourself up for a push up, and you wouldn't be going straight. Your body wouldn't be going straight down wouldn't be as straight as a plank. It would just be. In my head, I'm thinking of it as a V shape, or maybe even an L, because either your core's not strong enough because you haven't strengthened your core enough, or you don't know how to do it properly, or you can't be bothered, or perhaps something else I haven't thought of. But yeah, there absolutely is no way in hell I am not going to do what it takes to improve my position by the end of 2022. By the end of 2022, my life is going to be very, very different. And I mean that in a way I like. And I'll do what it takes so that happens. There are many things other than my core strength that I need to work on. So I'll do what it takes so that I do work on it and that I see progress. That includes both my body transformation and outside of that. But for now, that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. Peace. Here is the disclaimer of this video. This absolutely is not going to be a typical 5-minute motivational video. This is a highly edited piece, but it's not going to have so much music involved or anything like that. It's not going to have music involved at all, really. This instead is going to be a much longer video than just 5 minutes or a couple of minutes. I can't believe that people are out here just making shorts of their body transformation. Literally 1 minute videos of how their body's transformed. I can't believe that. It takes so little into account in terms of how they've actually progressed in their life. Not only in terms of how their body has transformed, but also how their life is transformed. I just personally think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit that these sorts of people who have made videos like this only showing a highlight reel and are making it seem like there are no downs to this journey. There are no to this sort of journey. There are no low points to this sort of journey. And I can say from personal experience that absolutely is not true. So for that reason, because I believe this, I'm instead making a much longer video that goes into a lot more detail as to how my body is transformed and compared to other people who've made videos about how their body's transformed, and also how my life outside of my physique alone has transformed. This is something that I could be proud of making. This is something that I certainly can enjoy when looking back at. I mean, I have a massive smile on my face creating this video right now, even though my head does feel a little bit overstimulated. I was feeling this way when I was editing the video up to around the 9-minute mark yesterday. Today's the 17th, and I started making the video on the 16th. There was so much editing going on. It's a lot more editing than I'd usually do. But for the sake of this video and me really wanting it to be high quality as cars drive by in the background, I even forgot what I was going to say. But for the sake of it being high quality, I am making it at least a bit more edited. I made that part more edited so that you could see my thoughts on what my thoughts yesterday on that Plank Day 7 video. That's why there was so much editing, but usually I wouldn't do that. But that's the disclaimer done. This video is not going to be just a 5-minute, oh my god, yeah, I transformed my life, and making it seem like it's so quick. It just isn't. There's so many hours involved into this. 365 times 24 hours in a day. 365 days in a year times by 24 hours in a day. 3,650, that's 10. There's no point even trying to work it out. I'll just use a calculator. I've just checked. This 8,760 hours within 365 days. That amount of time has passed, but then people have the nerve to summarize how much they've done within that amount of time in the space of 5 minutes, or maybe even 1. That's fucking ridiculous. 8,760 hours crammed into 1 minute. I'm not doing that. Even my video, compared to the 8,760 hours, is going to be short. It's going to be much longer than other people might have made it. And I'm more than okay with that. I feel more than fine with that. Because I know that I'm purposefully going out of my way to add a lot of detail into this video. Basically as much detail as I could think of in my notes that I've got planned, that I planned in the early hours of this morning, and also a while back when I was making topics as to, or for this video. Anyway, so I've now made my disclaimer. Let's get into why the thumbnail is what it is. I wanted to make a thumbnail that showed that the body transformation, which is how this life transformation journey video, this life transformation started off. I wanted to make that photo of day one versus year one and make it like transition, just somehow make it show that it turned into a lot more than just a body transformation video, but I didn't know how to do that. So instead I just made I pushed the photos to the side of my day one and my year one, and then I was just playing about with it, putting 1 year life transformation journey, and then I added more to it, and then there you go, thumbnail done. So that's why the thumbnail is what it is. I really wanted to show that the body transformation turned into a lot more than just that, but I didn't know how to show that in the form of a thumbnail rather than speaking about it. So that's what I came up with. That said, I have no problem with the thumbnail that I've come up with. It's about the title. It's the 1 year life transformation video. It very clearly explains that in the thumbnail, so I don't mind. I'm not misleading people. I would have preferred if I got the 19th of August body pic photo so that it's actually closer to a year, but the 19th of August 2022 has not happened yet, so I can't do that. I might be able to add it in last minute though. That said, I might be able to. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, that's why the thumbnail is what it is. And now we move on to diving into what I spoke about earlier in the New Year, New Me video. I'm referring to what I said in response to that video. I lightly, I slightly mentioned how my mental health has changed, and that's something that I'd like to talk about now. That's a part of my plan. That's the part of the structure of this video as I was writing out in the very early hours of the morning, but it's done. So that's how I want to transition this video. So I'm going to talk about that now. But whilst doing that, or whilst before making the clip to do that, I'm going to make timestamps so that this video is more at least more watchable, and people can skip to different parts if they want to. Yeah. Now it's time to talk about my mental state. I'd be lying if I said that my mental state hasn't drastically improved within the space of a year. I mean, come on, I've had around less than 9,000 hours to improve this, and I have. So let's get into where my mental state was around August time. Around August time, I was at the lowest state mentally that I've ever been in my adult life. at this point in time, I'd say. And that's mainly, well, at first glance, that's mainly because of this one thing that I'm going to address right now. So it's about the skate park. So this is something that I've addressed numerous times. I addressed it all the way back when this channel was called A Planking Journey, and when the daily logs were called Plank Day X. I addressed it in day 80 and day 90, and that's a minimum. I also remember making a short saying that I'm not purposefully avoiding that area. I could probably put it up now as an overlay or something. Yeah, I might just. These shorts, they all made well into having worked on my thoughts on the matter. That was months worth. That happened months after all of those events that happened for me to think about going to the skate park in such a fearful way. And that's what I'm going to actually talk about now. So we're going to go back right to the start, or my perception of the start at least, as to how I actually got to a place where I was having so many fearful thoughts and I acted on those fearful thoughts. It just lived a very a life where I had so much fear in me. So let's go back. So around about June last year, I was going to the skate park a lot. I'd go maybe, I'd usually go for about 2 hours, because 2 hours was enough time for me to actually practically learn how to do new things, like going down a ramp, for example. Now that actually perfectly leads it to a part of this, a major part of the story. So I'd be learning how to go down ramps, and I was just having fun with it. Sometimes I actually went on to large ramps, but with my stomach on the board as I go down. And I had a helmet on. I had skateboard gloves on, so it wasn't like I was just doing that completely recklessly. At least there was some protection involved. And there was this one kid, this one fat shit. He was extremely fat. And that's actually that's a major part of the story. This one this one fat shit who I called Joseph. And he was just wanting to see me in pain. I didn't do anything to this little kid. I swear, I did not do anything to this little kid. He was just wanting to see me in pain. And I think I understand why. People were saying that his brother was in jail. And it was very obvious to me, even back then, that he was trying to cover up for insecurities that he had by saying, "Oh, I'll get my brother on you, I'll get my brother on you." He must have felt weak, otherwise why would he be doing that? If a guy is aggressive and he knows that he can rely on himself to provide the aggression, he's not going to try and say, he's not going to go out of his way to say, "Oh, I'll get this person, or I'll get that person." He'd probably say something more along the lines of, "If you do that again, I'll fuck you up." Not I'll get my brother on you. Like the older brother, some dog that he'd be releasing off a leash. I think he had a lot of insecurities in him, like his weight, and maybe a lot of fear in him. Maybe because of the reputation his brother had, maybe he felt fear that something could happen to him. Maybe that's why he acted out in that way. And you don't know what's going on inside the house. You don't know what sort of things are being spoken about in the house, how much or how little the parents are doing as well, and how much or how little he's doing to help himself out. For example, improve his health. Maybe it's not valued as much over there. But yeah, anyway, so this guy, I think, because of his own insecurities and maybe even family problems or anything like that, he just wanted to see me in pain. And I'd be going down the largest ramps that were there, flat on my stomach with my helmet on and with my gloves on. He'd say, so when I go down the ramp, I'd slide my hands along the floor so that I wouldn't fall. And he'd say, do it without, do it without. At the time, I didn't see this as as an issue, even though one of the people there saying, yeah, he just wants to see you fall. That person saw it even before I saw it. This person literally said it like that, dead to my face, and it still just went. It did that. That's what it did. It did that. It did not. It did. I thought it was just me having fun. I was saying to Joseph, if I'll do it, I'll do it if you do it, because you said you would. You said, oh no, you just try and shrug it off, pussy. You just try and shrug it off. And I felt some way. Oh, actually, let's get to the part where I actually fall. So I go down it, as he says, with my hands up, and then there's a little very small ramp that looked kind of like this. So I went down the big ramp, and then there's another much smaller hump in the park that I went down, and I went with my hands up off the ground. That was basically keeping me attached to the skateboard. So when I went up, I fell over, and I grazed my skin, and he was laughing at me. I felt some way about that, and I spoke to one of his friends, and I only told this person. So this person must have snitched. Must have, because he was the only person that I said it to. I said, he needs to go on that guy needs to go on a Weight Watchers program. He's like, fucking hell. I've seen this same guy so many times, and I've spoken to him so many times, and I haven't addressed it. That guy's a snitch. Oh. Yeah, everyone found out. Everyone in that skate park found out. Those kids, yeah, they found out. And Joseph wasn't feeling all that happy about it. One time I was going to the skate park, he called me a gib. And I don't think I felt insulted about that at all. I think I was starting to realise that he was hurting. So much to the point that we now get to this major part in the story. So 26th of July 2021, I am just going on for my usual walks because I wasn't doing much else at the time. This was before I was working and before I created this channel. At the time, I was trying to make cooking videos. That didn't work out. I didn't stay consistent with that. And I eventually deleted the videos that I made for the Red Pill channel that I made, which is no longer called this, but it was called Blue to Red. I've completely changed that channel up. I'm not going to say what the name is or anything like that, but yeah, I've completely changed that channel up. And it's more similar to this channel with daily logs and that, but I haven't been making logs every single day on that one. It is quite a bit to do. I need to just do one thing on there, and I've decided that one thing I'll do is to learn about gym instructor course material. I'll do that and then I'll build up from there. But anyway, going back to this story now, 26th of July 2021, Joseph, the three of his boys, they've seen me actually no, well, Joseph just saw me, and his 3 friends or so-called friends followed. I didn't see him at first, but I heard him. I heard him say, yeah, that was the guy that was telling me that I need to lose weight. And then I saw him. So when they were approaching me to my left, I felt major, intense fear response. Just like how it came intensely, very quickly, it also went away completely, very quickly, for that short time though, whilst I was there. And yeah, he addressed it, the fact that I called him fat, in an extremely hostile way. He approached me with 3 of his friends, or so-called friends. I genuinely could have been jumped by him and his friends that day. And in my mind, when I was thinking about it, after it happened, I was saying sorry to him when thinking about it, but that was out of fear. I was saying that out of fear. But anyway, going back to the event, yeah, he was talking to me more than anything. I managed to keep myself calm and to respond to what he was saying rather than to react to what he was saying. I had to be very careful with my words that day. Otherwise, I really could have been jumped. And that's no lie. This is not a game. This is not a joke. I genuinely could have been jumped that day. It got so... I know I'll talk about all of the fear I experienced later, but I want to talk about the event now. So yeah, he addressed it. He was saying, oh, well, he called me fat. That's not nice, is it? And he mentioned slim fast somewhere in there. Oh, because I said he needs to go on a Weight Watchers program. That was my wording, basically verbatim. He's saying that one of his friends was on slim fast or something like that. Yeah. Then we were talking about it. I noticed that he seemed calm, and I pointed that out to him. He's like, what? But of course he was. He was three guys up. It was a 4v1. Of course he's gonna seem calm. Of course he was going to seem calm. It was a 4-on-1. In my head I was thinking it genuinely could have been 5, but no, I really think it was 4, because I remember their faces. One had blonde, one was short, had very curly blonde hair. One had blonde hair, short at the sides and then a fringe, I think, and then another had very messy black hair. I remember seeing the blonde kid with very messy hair walking past me. So we were on a hill, I was going down and he was walking up, and he saw me and he gave me a dirty look. This was in my dreams. I don't know if that was before that happened or after. Maybe it was before. I don't know. If it was before, it could have been a warning or something. I don't know. But nowadays, I'm not worried about that. But yeah. Anyway, going back to that situation now. So we were talking. Well, he was talking to me, really. I was just minding my own business. I was minding my own business, like my arms on the bench, like this. So yeah, it was just responding to what he was saying, and sometimes not speaking at all. Like when he addressed it, I just wouldn't say anything. I didn't say anything as I was sat down and they were stood over me, surrounding me, because there was a large hedge behind me, so there was literally no going anywhere. There was no going anywhere. They surrounded me. I probably could have run off to the right, but in my mind, I was thinking, I'm not running anywhere until this is done. Until this is sorted, I am not going anywhere. I don't know what I don't know why I had that thought, but I acted on it. I kept my cool then, and I stayed there until it was done, and then eventually I moved. Whilst they just started to talk to themselves, whilst they were sat down on the grass to the left of me. Now that now that I say that, so Joseph came and sat next to me as he was addressing the situation, the fact that he didn't like that. The audacity of that fucking kid. He was saying that he didn't like that, but then he talks about it to me in a hostile way. He didn't say, oh, I want to speak to that guy, but I want to handle it in a mature way. So I'm not going to. You guys could just sit somewhere else. You guys could just chill somewhere else whilst I handle this. I want to handle it in a mature way, but rather than a hostile way. That didn't happen. I don't think he probably thought about that at all. What the? As if he knows anything about maturity. Well, he certainly didn't back then. He approached me in a hostile way, and he's the same kid that's made fun of disabled people. And the same kid that's made fun of stealing a girl's lunch money. Yeah, so he sat down next to me. I remember him saying, "This is my friend that said I need to go on the Weight Watchers program or something like that." He called me my friend. We were never friends. He wanted to see me in pain for his own entertainment. That's what I thought it was. He wanted to see me in pain for his own entertainment, but I didn't really think about why. And I think it genuinely could have been his own insecurities, his own inadequacies, his own issues that's going on at home, and also the environment that he would go back to every day, what the house is like, what his parents are like, what his siblings are like. He at least has one, because he's bragged about, oh, I'll get my brother on you, so he at least has one. He could be cramped up in a flat. It could be, maybe not. But yeah, I might have seen him since near the court that I've played basketball on. I might have seen him since, I don't know. Walking with one of the girls that I go to the skate park as well. Maybe that was him. I don't know. So Joseph was talking to me about it. The blonde kid who had messy hair didn't care. The kid with black hair didn't care, from my memory. And also, the kid with blonde hair on the short at the sides and with the fringe, he didn't actually seem like. He seemed rather friendly as he was talking about. As he was talking to me and also talking to his friends. For example, I was wearing, I don't know if I have the watch, yeah. I was wearing this exact watch on that day. Blue jeans, my blue Nike hoodie, which isn't here, but I've worn it Plank Day 146, I think. Yeah, it's the dark blue one. I was wearing this exact watch. And he asked me, oh, how much is that? But with the way how he delivered it, with his delivery, it genuinely didn't seem like he wanted to rob me. It seemed like he was asking me that genuinely. He he seemed genuine when asking that question. He seemed like he was actually curious rather than wanting to rob me. He just seemed like a very friendly person with how he was talking about things. He didn't seem like someone that would try and go out of his way to want to be nasty to other people like Joseph. He seemed friendly to talk to. I even said to him he seemed alright, and he said thanks. Yeah, that situation was a mess. But anyway, I get out of it now, and I walk to a bus stop that's far away from this park, which that situation just happened. Joseph tried calling me a nonce. He unironically tried calling me a nonce whilst I was at the park, because there are kids there, but there are adults there too. Using that sort of logic, if I were to walk in town and I were to see a kid with their parents, that means I'm a nonce. Or even if I were to see a kid whilst walking in town, that would also mean that I'm a nonce by his logic. Yeah, his friends, or so-called friends, when he unironically tried calling me a nonce, they laughed at him. He was like, "Whoa!" And I remember purposefully hinting at the fact that he was just wanted to see me in pain for his entertainment. And he was like, "But how the fuck did I snake you?" Kids in the kids in their slang. I feel so happy that I don't speak like that. I don't think I ever have. No, I don't really remember I ever have. I know there was a phase in my life in which I tried speaking in a fancy way, because there was one kid in my school that naturally spoke that way. But yeah, anyway, going back to this bus stop situation now. I just go there to process what the fuck happened. I was mentally, I was breaking that day. I was a shit creek. Oh my gosh, I was a mess. Thinking, oh my God. Just basically, very basically, the fear was increasing. The fear that I had related to that situation as time went on, it was increasing. I was not mentally stable at that time. I did not really know about how to improve and maintain my mental health. Certainly not to the extent that I know now. Hell no. Hell no. No, absolutely not. That was just building fearful thoughts upon fearful thoughts. You got to remember, in June as well, I had a dream that I almost got robbed twice, and my sister had a dream of me violently passing away. That was her wording. A family friend had a dream of me violently passing away as well, and yeah, another person related to the family was also said that they had a dream of me passing away somehow. And with those dreams, I was saying, oh, okay, I'm not going to go to the skate park. And then after those dreams and my lack of mental health, my lack of knowledge related to mental health, and my lack of skills to be able to keep my mental health in check, I think that's where the fear really, really started. It was extremely slowly just building and building and building behind the scenes. And then when I think that set the breeding ground for it. And then when that event happened, when I almost could have been jumped at that park that day on the 26th of July last year, I was up shit creek. I was up complete and utter shit creek. that was the things that it just blew my fear and mental health state out of proportion, out of control. Oh my gosh, I was at the lowest point in my life then. After that happened, I was at the lowest point in my life. I was sometimes even looking. There was one time in particular, I vividly remember myself looking to see if there's anyone there. If Joseph was there, and genuinely asking myself this question, even though he's a little kid. I eventually caved in, and I spoke to my mum about it, and I spoke to my dad about it, and also one of my sisters about it, just so that I felt more safe. That helped. But upon reflection, I didn't need to do that. With that low level I was at mentally, I think I genuinely might have needed that to be able to move forward. But with this level, if I was at this level with my mental health now, back then I might not have needed that. But back then, speaking to them did help. I'm now going to backtrack a little bit and speak more about what I was just talking about a couple of minutes ago, when I was talking, giving examples as to how much fear that I had back then. It was a mess, man. It was such a mess. I literally only go to the gym, or only go for walks, or go shopping. That's basically all I go out for. I wouldn't really go out for anything else. And back then, I think during August time, I was still having takeaways quite a bit. I have had a takeaway recently, but that was a while ago, maybe a week or so ago. And then before that, I hadn't had takeaway for months. And I'm not planning to have takeaway ever again, really. Even if it's multiple months on end, that's great. That's amazing. Because I've got to remember where I've come from. I've now gone from having takeaway 3 times a week to having no takeaway at all. Basically, I wouldn't be having it at all. I had it for the first time in months. The chicken fillet burger was so salty. It was so salty. It's not in any way healthy. These people, they don't care for our health, because it's our responsibility to take care of our health. And although I don't disagree with that, I just wouldn't want to be caught in the firing line or speak to them ever again, really. I used to really like chip shops, and I'd speak to a couple of guys in there, but not anymore. It's not even that I dislike the people who I'm thinking of in particular, but I just don't want to go to a shop where they basically are taking advantage of people, work until late to take advantage of the people that have come from nightclubs and make a quick cash, basically. Maybe not illegal, but quick cash. Thousands of pounds in a day. In a night. Thousands of pounds in a night. Because there are people that are... I don't even know why I'm playing about this, is just on the table. Because there are people that are drunk and or high off their heads. Vulnerable, basically. And I don't think that they'd be thinking about the healthiest meals that they can eat, because they're not taking care of themselves a lot anyway, and you can tell that they aren't, because they're destroying their bodies by doing drugs. Alcohol is a drug as well. It is, because it has substances in there that change how your body functions, and by definition, that is what a drug is. Yeah, I certainly have changed how I've been eating, but I want to go back to what I was talking about earlier. I really apologize from switching from topic to topic. Sorry, it's just how the mind's going right now. And it's something, it's not a skill that I've really practiced. I haven't really practiced focusing on one thing in particular. I have done it in the past, but not consistently. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I basically would go out, I'll practice right now. I basically would go out to shop, to go shopping, to go to the gym, or to go for long walks that were hours long. Walks that were hours long, basically. And I came to a conclusion that I was subconsciously thinking that if I see a group of teenagers, I genuinely could die because of those dreams I had. And I was thinking of those dreams more so as a prophecy rather than a warning. And if there's any reason as to why I could have done that, is because I was building fear related to those dreams, but I wasn't working through it. So the fear was just there constantly, and I was trying to shrug it off. I try and shrug it off rather than process it sometimes, especially with one thing in particular that I remember saying to a couple of people. I tried shrugging that off, but I know from personal experience that that does not work. That only just makes the fear related to the thoughts that you'd have more intense. I mean, I wouldn't have an anxiety attack over it or anything like that, but I certainly would be experiencing very high levels of fear, higher levels than I've really ever experienced before in my life. I remember there was even one time I saw a group of teenagers and I crossed the road. It got so... The fear got so... I built the fear so much to the point that I saw someone that was that looked like the same age as Joseph and that looked similar to Joseph, but they were rather far away, so I couldn't very clearly see the kid's face. And I saw a much taller man who I assumed was his dad or brother, and I saw the little kid point in my direction to his right as I was walking along the other side of the street. So from my perspective, I'm on the left side of the street, and from their perspective, they're on their left side of the street. So he points in my direction this way. It could have been pointing at the houses behind me, but I was in my head over and over again. I was just thinking, what was he pointing at me? Was he pointing at me? I had so much fear that was coming up to the surface now that I felt the need to call my mum and dad over it. And say, just in case, I told them, just in case it was him, yeah, if anything bad were to happen, I was calling just in case if anything bad were to happen. Nothing did, but I was experiencing so much fear that day. And my mum, rather ironically, was telling me to not live my life in fear. But she can have many fearful thoughts herself. Like even yesterday, I was having some pasta, some macaroni and cheese sauce, and then I put a little bit of cheese that was left there. And she said, "Oh, let me know if you get bellyache." Come on. I didn't, but yeah. It was rather ironic the advice was coming from her, but I did. And although I don't think about living by that advice consciously, I might be doing it subconsciously. I don't need to go out of my way to feel fear. I'm too mentally stable for that. I'm just too mentally stable. I track, but back then, I was not tracking my mental health at all. One of my sisters gave me a link to one of Therapy in a Nutshell's videos. It was about how to stop overthinking. And she sent me this link because she thought that I could be doing it. I'm going to leave an overlay now, make this a short clip and to make an overlay of what I'm talking about, the video I'm talking about. Major thanks for my sister to sending that video, and major thanks for Therapy in a Nutshell for uploading that video. I have no idea how many lives she's helping indirectly with those videos. She is giving people advice on what to do, but I don't see it as unsolicited advice. And the reason why I don't is because I went out of my way to go and search for it after long enough, after months after my sister sent me that text message with that video linked to it. I clicked on it and I started using those sorts of videos to help me improve my mental health. That was the very start of me improving my mental health. Now, we've gone all this way. Come so far. Pardon me. We've come so far from just using what somebody else has created to actually going about it in my own way rather than following somebody else's way. Although that was a very helpful starting point. It's been a very slow process. Improving my mental health has been a very slow process. It's only really now, these past couple of months, that I've made significant progress in improving my mental health. Because it's only these past couple of months I've been making an effort to track it. Last year, back then, August 2021 times and onwards, onwards up to a certain point, I wasn't doing this. I wasn't tracking my mental health at all. I was too busy feeling fear and not knowing how to work through it. That's what I was doing. I didn't know what to do, and I was just really basically living day by day. And I had so much fear related to those dreams and that event of being approached by Joseph and 3 of his friends, or so-called friends, that laughed at him when he tried unironically calling me a nonce, just so that he seemed cool. Tried to get back at me after what I said to him. Yeah, I was not tracking my mental health at all. At all. I wasn't. I just wasn't. I had nothing close to the systems that I have now to help me out with this. And because of that, I was a mess. In my head, I've been thinking for a long while now that people might actually be taking more care of their cars than their own health. With cars, you have to have a yearly MOT test so that it's legal and safe to drive on the roads. And if you don't, there can be legal consequences. However, if you don't improve your health, there aren't necessarily legal consequences for doing that. If you carry on eating donuts all day and your BMI goes to overweight and obese, even though you're not muscular, even though your body's not muscular, pardon me, you're not going to go to court for that. You won't have to go to court for that. You're not necessarily going to be, you're not going to be prosecuted for just having an overweight physique. That's not happening. Whereas if you don't take an MOT test, you can get sentenced for that, for driving illegally on the roads, I'd imagine. I don't really know the law well. I don't know I don't know the law well. I don't know my human rights. My parents haven't taught me about that. My parents have not taught me about those things, so I have to go out of my way to go research it. But because they haven't, it's not like they've given me unsolicited advice with those sorts of things. I hate unsolicited advice, regardless of who it comes from. And I know that from personal experience. Anyway, going back to this mental health stuff, I was in such a worse place mentally than I am now. I started off with those therapy in a nutshell exercises, and then from there, I think I wasn't really doing anything at all. But eventually, I was just working through it with the plank journey logs, which is what I called them at the time. And then eventually went from the weekly picture review, because I was wanting abs so bad, to the weekly health review. That was when I really started to track my mental health along with other things. And then as I went through the process, I worked through a lot. Right, let's see what I actually wanted to talk about next. So I said I wanted to talk about the skate park event. I've done that. It gave examples as to when I felt fear, done that. There are many times, trust me. And I said there was a lot of hatred that I haven't yet worked through. So let's talk about that then. I'll end this clip to get some water, but I'll talk about that right now after this clip's ended. I was saying, I had a lot of hatred. Hatred towards family that I built during GCSE times that I hadn't worked through. GCSE times and A-level times that I hadn't worked through. Hatred towards people that I was hanging out with that I called my friends back then, but we weren't really friends. We were just together because we were in school together. We were in a friendship circle together because we were in school together. But there's one person in particular that I'm thinking of. She was so petty. Just so that I remember who I'm talking about, I'm saying that she was whiny. She spoke in a whiny way. She sounded very petty all the time. Or actually, maybe not literally 24/7, but most of the time I saw her this way. Thank goodness we aren't around each other anymore. I'm on my own path, and I feel very grateful that I'm not around people who shamed not going to university, who made it seem like apprenticeships were something that are to be looked down upon, or any other route is just something to be looked down upon. Trades off. In the school that I went to, you don't even talk about trades. No, we weren't thinking about trades. We were going to uni, basically. Oh, pardon me. That's how it went. People do need their employment. If less people go to university, less university teachers can be employed because there'd be less of a need for them. If significantly less people were going to school, to further education, I call that schooling, I don't call it education. Just because you're in school or university doesn't mean that you're actually learning anything. That's number one. Number two, it doesn't actually mean you're learning anything useful. Things that actually matter in this life, like our health, the state of our health, for example. When we go to the grave, or when we get cremated and left in an urn that hasn't been buried, you're not going to be remembered for the occupation that you did, for the most part. That will only be something that you glance over. However, we're made to want to work towards having a career for basically our entire school journey past during GCSEs and onwards. We're made to think about this thing called a career, but then when it's time to be remembered, that's only going to be something that you slightly talk about. It's not really going to be mentioned at all. And if you put the occupation on the headstone, like those things that have in loving memory of, it's just going to look out of place. There was someone that had chartered engineer on the headstone, and it just looked out of place. And for their occupation, that is it. That's all they got on their memorial set. Not how well the person did their job or how much they enjoyed it. No, it's just chartered engineer. That's it. Pardon me. But then we're made to think about it basically from GCSE onwards. But yeah, it's not going to be remembered. We're not going to be remembered for that. That's it makes sense if you think about, if teachers try and make students think about career and that they get to keep their jobs, and that's what the teachers are going to really care about, isn't it? They need to pay the bills, they need to feed their families, so they do teaching to do that, even if some of them might not even like it, but they'll still do it anyway, because we've basically been taught to career chase and money chase as well. Career, university, oh. That isn't the only way. I said to my parents I wanted to take a gap year. They said no. They actually laughed at me. I remember them laughing at me when I asked to take a gap year. And then when I came back from uni and I spoke to them about that, they said, well, no, you decided to not take a gap year. Fuck you for that, mum and dad, seriously. I'm having a little bit, seems like it's uncovering a little bit of pain and tension I had in the mind about it. I can feel it. I've got a lot more in tune with myself since this year and since coming back from uni late December 2020. Pardon me. Yeah, those sorts of things, especially the fact that they said no to me getting a job whilst working at school, that's where the major part of the resentment started. And I think that was because it was just like they didn't even give me a chance. And I watched a Nathaniel Messiah video, he's saying that helped him in a sense, because he'd be using the time that he did have set aside to revise more effectively, and not having my own mind and not being able to think for myself, I was just thinking, yeah, that might work. So I wanted to have a job alongside schoolwork for those reasons. But I didn't explain that to my parents, because I thought I wasn't being listened to. That was my reasoning, word for word. Because they keep telling me no. That's only a small snippet of all of the hatred that I uncovered. That's a very extremely basic summary of all the hatred I uncovered towards mum and dad especially, and also people that I called friends, but they weren't really. Especially that one girl in particular. This is no more than just an extremely short summary of what I'm talking about. Seriously, I had a lot to work through. A lot to work through. You can check the serious series. I'm not joking when I say that. I'll actually make a short overlay of what I'm talking about now to give examples of what I'm saying, to give the proof. Alright. The last overlay might not make sense without any explanation, so I'm going to actually explain why I also put that overlay there. The one that was just up talking about, that had the title Overcoming the Unrealistic Standards that I had made for myself in school and setting more realistic standards. The reason why I put that up there is because I started to believe that I had I built a lot of self-resentment because I couldn't fulfill those standards that I was looking for. I knew I could really achieve top of the top high marks, but I just wasn't. And because I was expecting myself to go from like D's to C's straight to A stars basically immediately, I just felt unhappy, because I built my self-worth off that. I think it wasn't like I had anything else going for me other than school the school I was going to out of habit, more than because I actually wanted to go there to go and learn. No, I was just more interested in trying to seem cool back then, especially during when I was like 14 or 15, a few years back, when I was putting on jumpers that one of my relatives bought me. Well, one of my one of my relatives bought me. One of my family relatives bought me for my birthday. I wasn't 14 back then. I was 15. It was it was after my my 50th birthday, I think. And then I went to astronomy class after school wearing it, trying to seem cool. I'd always go back home and then go to the after school club, because there was some time between the end of school and the astronomy school, the astronomy class. So I'd take that time to shower and then to put on those clothes to try and impress other people, to try and seem cool. That was what I was focused on back then. Oh my gosh. I just wanted to be accepted, I think. I just wanted to be accepted, to seem valued, to seem liked. Oh my gosh, when I was a prepubescent during middle school, yes, I did take the 3-tier system. I remember one time I was talking to this girl, not in a dating way, but we were just having a conversation, and I was so mentally unstable back then that I literally cried because the popular kids weren't talking to me. Maybe is mentally unstable the word? when I say mentally unstable, I don't mean suicidal or anything like that, or homicidal, no. I mean more so like something so insignificant like that could set me off that extremely. I won't go and cause any harm to anyone because of that. I don't mean that. I mean that I literally was crying, tears bawling out of my eyes because the popular kids weren't speaking to me. Where are the popular kids now? One of them that I met that was bullying me in primary school, he looked like a mess. He looked like a mess back when I was, this could have been A-level times. I don't remember. It could have been A-level times. He was walking with who I think was the person he was dating. It was a girl. It could have been, or it could have been a friend, I don't know. But during middle school times, maybe even primary school too, he was the absolute fucking man in school. He was the man. So many girls were interested in him. Even I had my little bit here and there, like one or two, probably. Actually, more than I realized during high school. But primary school, yep. Middle school, yep. High school, yeah. Girls would say, well, oh, I fancied you back then. Translation, yeah, I fancied you then and I fancy you now, but I'm just not going to say that so I can reduce the chances of me getting rejected. What is it about rejection? What exactly is it about rejection that females are trying to avoid, so adamant on avoiding? What is it? I don't know. I can't give a very exact specific answer because I don't know. I don't. But yeah. Very basically, go back to what I was saying. I put that overlay up because there was I think I built a lot of hatred for myself because I wasn't meeting those standards that I set for myself. I wasn't, and I put a lot of self-worth on school. I put a lot of my self-worth in my ability to be able to do schoolwork to a high level. I remember one of my chemistry tutors saying that he might not be getting the highest of grades, but he's the hardest worker. I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that. I don't think I ever will. Now look at what I'm creating for myself. Maybe that teacher saw a lot in me that I didn't see. But yeah. After working through the hate, I've been able to come to a place now where I'm experiencing a lot more peace. There was actually a time recently, maybe a week ago to a couple of weeks ago, where just multiple days in a row, I get up and I just feel at peace. I feel happy because I'd be feeling at peace. I don't know why there's so many videos out there that are trying to make it seem like, oh, how to be happy. Why are people so adamant on chasing happiness? Why? Do they lack it that much? Are they on a path that they dislike that much that they're going out of their way to go and chase it like that? Maybe people might need it to help them out, just like how I felt the need to go on those therapy in a nutshell videos. She's made those sorts of videos as well. Let's not play games here. I know she has, but she has been very helpful. Those videos have been extremely helpful because I wanted to go there and click and watch and learn something new, and I did. I've now come to this point where I could do it by myself. I could track my mental health by myself, and I'm okay. More than okay mentally, actually. But yeah, working through that hate has allowed me to come to a sense of peace, and now my mental health has improved because of that. But that took such a long time. such a long time to get to that point, to get to this point where I've come to terms with the relationships that I've had with my mum and dad, my dad especially. And I haven't really thought about the relationships I used to have with friends. I would every now and then, but not often. But anyway, yeah, I've come to terms with them. And after working through that hate, on the other side, I've come out of it feeling much more at peace. Much more at peace. So much more at peace. And I think that's because of that. My depression scores have gone down over the months. Yeah. I'll actually show the mental health tests now after saying what I want to say. So I found out about these tests from Luke Spurgeon actually. It's called the NHS Depression and Anxiety Self-Assessment Quiz. And I'm now taking this on a weekly basis, which I'll get onto later. I saw his score in a thumbnail, so I was curious. I wanted to see what score I'd get. And then I made a notice saying that the score was concerningly high. And then from there, I really worked on improving it. I'll give an overlay for that as well. From there, I started taking these tests regularly, not because I believed that I had mental health issues, but because I wanted to maintain my mental health. I shouldn't have to get to a point where I think my mental health is in an absolute shit state before I work on it. And hence, I started taking more tests, and I've now got to a point where I'm taking these tests at least once a week, maintaining the mind to maintain the mind. And I'm going into them more. I'm taking these tests with much more care than I was in the past. Starting from the week 8 weekly review, I was just thinking about it out loud. I talk about it out loud as to what was on my mind, and then I'd move on to the next question, and I keep on doing that until I finish the test. But now I've got my laptop with me, the laptop I didn't buy. I will eventually get a new one, just so that I know that what I've got is mine. I bought for it, I bought it, I earned it. Yeah, instead of it being given to me. I don't want stuff given to me anymore. I want to earn my keep. But anyway, yeah, I'm using this laptop to give very clear answers as to what my thoughts are on a certain question, on these questions. And it's much easier to see what keeps on coming up over and over again. One of those things that came up was improving my sleep routine. I kept on talking about that over and over again, so something I certainly want to work on. I'm now going to actually show these tests that I've been taking. So the scores will show, but the dates on which I took these tests will also show. All right, here goes. As you can see, I really want to scratch. I want to scratch my head here. I want to scratch my head, but I'm not going to follow the impulse. I'm not going to act on it. Anyway, I'm just keeping my hands on my legs like this. Anyway, yeah, very generally speaking, my scores have gone down over the months that I've been doing this, taking these tests. These are the scores that I got that I could find on my camera roll. They aren't necessarily every single score, if I'm being honest. It's not that I'm trying to hide the complete truth or anything. It was just that for the sake of making it easier, I just collected all of the photos that I had on my camera roll already that I could just add into this video. So that's what I've done. But you can see with the evidence that I have given, it's generally the scores have generally decreased over the months. If I hadn't have said that I found it extremely difficult to do other things in my life outside of the channel, then the scores of the most recent test that I took, that I showed before showing this clip or these clips, if I didn't put that and I said I was finding it fine, then the scores, the depression scores would have been like 4 out of 21 rather than 7 out of 21 maybe. Yeah. But I'm being honest with myself. I'm not trying to get the lowest scores I possibly can. I'm trying to genuinely check in with myself. It's not a test. It's not well, it is a quiz, but it's not like it's an exam or anything like that. No, it's for me to make sure that I'm okay. And in order to do that properly, I have to be honest with myself. I can't lie. I can't lie with myself about it. I just make things go even further downhill because I know I'd be lying. But anyway, let's actually get into how I got to this point. How did I actually get to this point where I've been able to start tracking my mental health on a weekly basis to the point of, for me to get to where I am now? Right, so I'm looking at my notes and yeah, we've got the weekly pitch reviews. I'm gonna have to get an overlay for that and see how see when it started and then explain how it evolved. I'll explain how it evolved and then get into more detail as to what it was about and why. Yeah. Alright, so my first videos look like this. These videos, they had this sort of thumbnail because I was using iMovie at the time. That's what I knew, so that's how I make the videos. It's very clear. It put weekly picture review in the thumbnail. I mean, what could be more clear to explain that it's a weekly picture review for a thumbnail than that? But yeah, eventually went from that to this now, and I don't remember the exact reason why I changed it, but if there's any reason as to why, it'd be because I wanted to see how I progressed. And eventually I started adding numbers to the corner of the thumbnails like this. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to stay consistent with it. And in order to have more of an indicator that I'm being consistent with these weekly reviews, I put a number in it, just like how I put a number on the plank journey logs at the time. Yeah. So it went from the numbers to the blue and yellow writing in particular, like this. You could show the evolution. You could see the evolution here. And the reason why I did that was because I was having blue and yellow thumbnails at the time for my plank journey logs. And the reason why I did that was because the yellow was to symbolize that it was the golden days. I decided that I wanted to call them the golden days. Since day 104, I think. To make it seem like, to just give a simple that these days, they aren't awful days. It's not an awful period in my life. Like these are the days that I really get it together. That's what I was trying to get at the time. Instead of wallowing and feeling pity for my situation and not and allow myself to stay in that pity, not change my situation. That's why I did that. That's why I had the gold font. And then for the blue, I was thinking of having like a blue coloured merchandise at the time for clothes. Me, because it was a plank journey at the time. I was thinking of a blue shadow and just me, a white silhouette, or blue background and a white silhouette of someone planking. Yeah. But it's not a plank journey anymore. I might still do that, I don't know. But yeah, that's what that was. Right, I'm gonna have to edit all of that together. So yeah, here goes. On to the next clip. Here I am still. It's been 3 hours of recording and editing. Even after the editing that I've done yesterday, when I started getting all the clips together, oh my gosh, it's been 3 hours. I was recording at 12:30. It's now gone past 3:30. It's like 20 to 4 or something. And I've just had a sandwich to eat, but yeah, I'm still going. I'm still pushing. Apologies for sounding like this. That's why. That's why I just want to go shopping, get something healthy to eat rather than a sandwich and all that. But yeah. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, I was doing all of these weekly picture reviews, and they reviewed my physique, of course, but it was not really lower body. There wasn't really any consideration for lower body involved. That's even something I'm having to work on now by having lower body pictures in the mix. I used to do that when taking the body transformation photos. I used to take lower body into account by taking pictures of them, but I just thought, nah, I'm not doing this anymore, because I wouldn't actually be using them, and I wouldn't compare leg photos of one week to the next. No, with the typical sort of body transformation style that I followed, you'd only really be taking upper body photos. And to be fair, that is where it's most obvious that you've either built a lot of muscle and or lowered your body fat percentage. I've had to understand that past a certain age, you don't lose fat. It's just that the fat cells shrink. It's not anything to do with losing fat. That doesn't, past a certain age, that does not exist. That just does not exist. But that's the uneducated mind for you. What for some people, health is not as important to them. Their health is not as important to them as money is or anything like that. So with these sorts of people, yeah, it makes sense. They may see someone with their abs showing, is like, oh yeah, I want that. But little do they know, it's not just what you see. It's the entire way of life. It's an entire way of life. It's not just a blooming photo. But anyway, going back to what I was saying now, you can see that I was making the physique reviews, and the reason why I was doing it is because from day one, the 21st of August, I wanted to see my abs. I wanted to like how I look in the mirror. I thought that me seeing my abs would mean I like how I look in the mirror. And that has been true to some extent, but nah, little did I know there'd be a lot more to it than that. I want to put on a lot more muscle, but I don't have to do that to be able to see my abs. Just wanting to see my abs did not take that into account. I want to put on a lot more muscle to make it easier for me to do calisthenics moves and to boost my self-esteem. I was so done just looking like a scrawny boy. I want to look like a man. I want the physical strength and the mental strength that comes with being a man. So I'm going out there to go and get it, and that means putting on more muscle, a lot more muscle. And I keep on flinging my arms about because I want to put more muscle on my arms in particular, so that I can fill out sleeves that's why I'd want to be doing it. But I haven't taken into account, just because your arms might not fill out the sleeves doesn't mean that your arms are small. I didn't understand that. Maybe I should just focus on just liking how I look and not focusing on whether my arms fit, whether my arms could barely fit in the sleeves because it's so tight. Past a certain point, I'd like it, yeah, but past a certain point, I just get normal. That it wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, yes, I've done it, and then I think of that same way all the time. No, I wouldn't. But me wanting more muscle, my arms especially, made it seem like that would be the case, that all of my issues or anything like that would be solved if I do that, and that's just not the case. Someone could be in shape but not have it together. Someone could be physically in shape and not have it together mentally. Someone could be in an extremely awful life situation but have a nice looking body, an in shape looking body. They could be absolutely destroying their body with steroids, but yeah, they look nice, so it doesn't matter. When in reality it does. For the sake of their own health, it does. In all of these body transformation videos, they might not necessarily take health into account. It's just more so about looks. I didn't understand that before, I don't think. I know I wanted to eat healthier, but with these body transformation videos, they're not taking health into account and really talking about them deeply, talking about how their health has changed deeply. Nope, it's just a 5-minute video. 8,760 hours crammed into 5 minutes, less than 10, maybe even one, with a short and with some motivational message behind it. I've seen so many of them. And if I allowed them to, I could feel pissed off about them. But I don't really. I have enough sense in my head to not allow myself to feel unhappy about what other people are doing, or to feel worried about them or anything like that. But it's just such a shame. It's such a shame that people are doing it like me. I was watching a 12-week transformation with Stephen Reynolds. That's probably the closest I've ever seen to someone making a video like me, really getting into detail as to how I've changed, or how they've changed after a year. He's done one like me well before I'm doing mine today, on the 16th and 17th of August. But yeah, I just don't go out of my way to watch those sorts of videos anymore. Okay, so I wanted to explain why I made a weekly picture review and explain what I'd actually talk about in the weekly picture review. I've done that, but now I want to show highlights of my physique and really get into detail about them. So that's what I'm going to do now, by stopping this clip and then getting the photos that I've already collected and putting them after this one. All right. So this is probably, in terms of how my abs looked, this is probably the highlight of this year. And the photo on the right that just showed on the 12th of May 2022, that was around about an hour before I ended the fast. And I want to make it very clear that yeah, I did look like that naturally. We need to consider how I actually got there and realize that I didn't get there in a healthy way. I got there by being on a 2-day water fast. And months after changing how I eat slowly but surely. But then the fast made it get to that point where my abs were looking like that. yeah, I'd like my abs to look like that, but what the photo doesn't show is the fact that I had an ulcer at the roof of my mouth at the back, because I was only drinking water for over a day. To clean out my system, I didn't have ill intentions. I certainly wanted to help myself out, but it did mean that I got ulcers at the end. But the picture doesn't show that. The picture shows a smile. The picture shows a smile. The picture shows me looking happy, because I got what I wanted for months on end, to be able to see my abs, at the cost of having an ulcer, at the cost of feeling so hungry I couldn't feel it anymore. That's real hunger right there. That situation, that fast taught me about real hunger. I knew about real hunger in the past after doing some unhealthy stuff, but yeah, that really it gave me a reminder as to what real hunger is, and it's not the belly rumbling. I now know that, yeah, I can look that way. My abs, they could look that way, all right, but at what cost? You got to do it in a way that's actually sustainable and healthy, not just wanted to do it. My mind it was a short-term mindset, but I didn't know that back then, because I hadn't really worked on it. I hadn't really worked on anything like this for this long ever in my life. Yeah, I was going to school and I've been to school for years, but I wasn't really learning anything useful there, and I was just going there out of habit, more so because I wanted to go there. No. Yeah, I've never really worked on anything like this. I wanted to earn my keep, earn what I consider is worth having. That's what I wanted to do. But now the mindset is a lot more long term than just seeing my abs. It's about my health, living a healthy lifestyle, living how I want to live. And in order to do that, I have to look a certain way as well. I have to feel a certain way. I have to be able to be at a certain level. And that partly includes being able to see my abs and having a low enough body fat percentage to be able to do so. For me, I found from personal experience that's around less than 15% body fat. By doing more measurements with myself with the help of the Carrada scan scale that they've got at the gym. I'm actually wanting to buy one of those. I will in the future, sooner or later. And I'll also get a blood pressure monitor to help me further track my health. But yeah, I just wanted to make a note of that photo in particular. It was the one on the right before this clip showed, of the very last set of photos. I wanted to talk about that because people in the body transformation people doing body transformation photos, they might not be talking about how they actually felt or anything like that, but I am. Because I know that I didn't get that look by healthy means. It just because abs are showing doesn't mean that all my life problems are sorted. No. There might be, people might be physically in shape, but their mental health might be a fucking shithole. But I didn't think of that back then. I only started to realise that as the months went by and as I was getting further and further into the journey. I started changing how I ate in April last year, and I was using MyFitnessPal to help me track. But I was going from not tracking my food at all to tracking every single ingredient in there, even all the way down to the seasonings. During April, I did that for 2 weeks and I just could not sustain it. And then August 2021, on the 20th of August, on the night, that was when I had my final straw, when I was force feeding myself that instant noodles barbecue flavor. I was done with that way of life, and that's what actually, that was the event that took place in my life that meant that I started this life transformation journey. That's what it was. And now going back to like how I used to track my food later on down the line, I do the same thing, but it was just unsustainable. I'm gonna show the photos of what I'm talking about. So from around April to May time, I was making this series called a meal tracking series to help me further stay on track with eating in a healthy way. Turns out that that was rather unstable, unsustainable at this point in time. I just could not keep it up. There's too much to do. I went from not tracking my meals at all again around that time to creating a full-blown series about what I've been eating and taking pictures and uploading them onto YouTube, just as 3-second photos that lasted for 3 seconds long. The changes were too extreme, and it was something that I just could not manage. But recently, I have now found a way, thank goodness, that is sustainable and that I can actually manage. And that's actually to do with the weekly health review. So I'll show a whole bunch of examples as to what I'm talking about. Very basically, I just take pictures of the meals and then I'll upload them into the weekly health review like this. If I'm not mistaken, these are just these are photos that I've taken so far over this week. It's just a group of them, and as you can see, I haven't been eating the most healthy, but that's because I haven't bought my shopping. I haven't done my shopping. I said I wanted to do my shopping again today. It took like 3 days, and I ran out of my steaks and my chicken. It's ridiculous how quickly that runs out because I eat very satiating meals. I cook very satiating meals, and speaking about that, I'm learning how to add more flavor into my food without needing sauces, condiments, more specifically like mayo, ketchup, salad cream, barbecue, even peronaise, peri sauce, etc. But yeah, so let's actually talk about the transition itself from the weekly picture review to the weekly health review. So the reason why I made this change anyway is because I had a realization. I thought, hold up a second, if I'm making all of these weekly picture reviews, but why not make a type of review where I look at my life more so in a bigger picture? I don't know what day that hit me, but I made a video very close to the time that it did. After it did, I made a video in which I was just making plans to make that weekly health review. I made a notice, and then I made a video explaining what the reviews would entail. I just eventually realized that I could be reviewing a lot more of my life to help get even further down the path of living how I want to live with the help of reviewing my health in general rather than just reviewing how I look. After reading Transform Your Body, Transform Your Life by Akash Vighala, I started to pay more attention to wanting to improve my performance in the gym or just when working out in general rather than how I look. I think that genuinely could have been a thing that helped me snap out of just reviewing how I looked to get to this point. It could have been more than just the one thing, but that could have been the a part of why I had the realization. Around the time the receipts showed, I'm telling you, man, I've got receipts on receipts on receipts on receipts. I mean, I have had what? Well over 8,000 hours to get them. I've had well over 8,000 hours to get receipts, to create receipts and to have them stored so I can use them to show that I am actually telling the truth. I need to be telling the truth in order to progress and move forward. That's what I'm doing. I don't need to lie. And I was about self-improvement. That's what I called it. I was about self-improvement. Show the proof. That's what I was about. Yeah, you can talk the talk all day, but have you got the receipts to actually prove what you're talking about? That's what I was on. And I still am about that, at least somewhat. I just don't reside with self-improvement anymore. I don't need to use all these fancy words to talk about living my life to the fullest. I don't need to use the alpha male, beta male, red pill, blue pill, laptop pill, watch pill, pencil case pill, phone pill, pen pill. I don't need to use all those fancy words, those alpha male, beta male, slipper male, dustpan and brush male. We don't need to use all those fancy words to live my life to the fullest. That's what I'm about now. I'm not about self-improvement. Although I am certainly about improving in my life. I understand that I don't need to use those fancy words to be able to do that. Anyway, let's actually talk about this weekly health review now. Insert thumbnail that I'd usually use. Insert thumbnail background that I'd usually use for the weekly health review. Let's go. The way how I got this thumbnail is because I was looking at Luke Spurgeon. I noticed that he changed his profile picture, so I was creating one, and then I had this mountain background that I created, and I was gonna have APJ on it for a planking journey, but I eventually changed it and put CJ as in calisthenics journey. That's my alias, by the way. And also made one for the weekly health review, one that's very similar. That's kind of how I got there. I've been, even today I've done it, I've been looking at his page and seeing it grow from only a few hundred subscribers. I think like maybe, I want to say 347 subscribers, 30,000 views over every video combined, to now 1,000 subscribers on the channel, 1.05, I think. I was thinking he got 1,500, but no, that's 1.5, not 1.05. So around about 1,050 subscribers on the channel, and around about 160,000 views over every video. I'd be watching, I'd be looking, I'd be checking every day. And I think I've still been doing that. I certainly look today, that's for sure. Just as a little bit of a, not even really a 2-minute break. I just needed to go to the toilet. I've done that, and I looked. I accidentally clicked on that advertisement. It's so quick to show it, so quick to have it all pop out. Yeah. I'm talking about the thing that comes down on the bottom 2/3 of the screen, which shows gives a link to their website or whatever for that comes from the advertisers. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about my weekly health review. So it's about mental health. I take pictures of what I eat and then just upload them. Starting from week 8 of the weekly health reviews, I've now started to think about weekly plans and talk about them on there. And ever since week 1, I've been adding physique from the weekly picture reviews. That's just a very general idea of what's covered in the weekly health review. I also showed receipts. I showed receipts as to what I wanted it to entail, but it's more so about that. From now on, the weekly plans, I think they'll help me with my productivity and also talking about what I want to do in the morning and also reviewing that at night. I think that's going to help me add more structure. I'd just be reviewing oh no, actually, I stopped doing daily voiceovers for weeks on end because I just couldn't sustain it. But now I'm ready to, because I want some more structure to be able to live a more interesting life, stay more on track with what these major things that I've got going on for myself. That's why I'm doing them, to have a constant everyday check in the morning and the evening before going to bed. That's why I'm doing them. That's why I'm doing the daily videos. They're not daily voiceovers anymore. Daily videos, because I'll be showing my face rather than just having a voiceover. Because that's easier to just turn on the camera rather than hold the voiceover button and then sometimes it cuts off. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that game. When did I start doing weekly health reviews? I wanna get a receipt for that, because just to make it clearer as to when I transition from weekly picture review to weekly health review, we'll see. I'll get a receipt for that now. Very basically, I'm covering all of these topics so that I can look at my life from much more bigger perspective and allow myself to progress in all aspects of my life, a lot more than just looking at how my body looks. That's why I'm making these weekly health reviews. But anyway, now I want to talk about how my life situation's changed. So I'm going to end the clip here to be able to make a timestamp as to when I've started doing this. In order to dip into this a little bit, I've got a day 1 versus year 1 transformation photo that I've shown in the thumbnail that I want to show again amongst other things that I've got. So I've got the photos, and then I've also got the stats. And as you'll see, I know a lot more about my body stats this year compared to last year, and I'm gonna show them the photo and the video recording my body weight stats now. Excuse the car horn. I don't know who that is. I've also got an extra clip about how I've changed in terms of how I speak. I'll just let it play and then I'll review it from there. Right, so this is plank day 4. I plan to do 3 sets of 50-second planks, but in reality I did 4 sets of 50-second planks And I also did a 1 minute 10 starfish plank, when in reality I just planned to do a 40-second starfish plank. Right, here I am in the cemetery feeling hungry and thirsty, but I decided to get out of the house immediately after having the lesson, to be able to come here and think about how things went. So I'll plan to put in the title. I'll plan to name the title something along the lines of, I didn't pass my driving test first time, and that's okay. You can see that I'm clear. Well, you can hear that I'm clearly sounding different. I can articulate my thoughts more clearly. The cogs are just turning a lot more now compared to how much they were turning last year. Let's just put it like that. My health is much improved, so that helps. That helps. My physical and mental health, they're much improved than what they once were. So that helps. Much more mentally stable. I've practiced the art of thinking deeply a lot more after years worth of time doing it compared to before, when I wouldn't really do that at all. The most I remember really doing for that in my life to help me is just, I need to stop watching YouTube, I need to stop doing this, I need to stop doing that, but I didn't listen. Like Therapy in a Nutshell said in one of the videos, that she and I think her production team, maybe, the video production is very high. She said that these things that you say you don't want to do, they might actually serve a purpose, because you wouldn't be doing them for no reason at all. They might serve a purpose more than you realize. And maybe that was to escape the delusional standards that I set for myself in school. Maybe that's why I was doing it so much. But yeah. I've come far, man. I've come so far. Seriously, it's not a joke. Cheers to that. Yeah. Cheers to that. Cheers to making more progress in my life than I've ever made before in the space of a year. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've made a lot of progress and I've come very, very far. So let's actually talk about it. I wanted to explain how my life situation's changed. So let's do it. I said we were getting into that now, but that was a few minutes ago. But now I'm only really getting into detail now, into detail about it now. So let's do that. Let's do that. I've gone from not having any work and wanting to apply for jobs to go through the customer service route, to become a manager and a business owner eventually that way, to now actually wanted to go down an entrepreneurship route, but through personal training. In the space of a year, I've enrolled for a personal training course. In the space of a year, oh my gosh, it's too much to mention. I've become a lot more mentally stable. I've overcome that fear that I had at the skate park, about the skate park and all those dreams, by going to the skate park numerous times, walking through there numerous times. I haven't recently, but I don't need to prove to myself that I don't feel fear about it anymore. I had a lot of fear back then because of the dreams. Apologies for this. This is just a ripped bag. Apologies. I used to have a lot of fear related to that situation. That's what I was talking about when I was saying it. Yeah. I used to have a lot of fear to it, but to that situation, sorry, but I don't anymore now. Sure, I've gone from having that fear to overcoming it from not having any work to having work, 10% battery warning, to not having work, but actually working towards something a lot more long term and not doing anything to have money come in. I've got to pass those gym instructor exams, and then yeah, that'll be me. That'll be me done, and even further on the path to success, you could call it. Living the life that I want to live, being in the life position that I want to lead. A lot has changed, and a lot more has changed in a way I like than in a way I dislike. Sure, I might not have as much money coming in because I got fired, but now I'll be overcoming it a millionfold, just like how I said I would. I said on the day I got fired, I said that I will overcome this a millionfold, and that has really manifested into my actions slowly but surely. I'm now getting closer and closer and closer to how I want to live, and me saying that and believing it is the part of why I'm actually getting there. I started to understand how manifestation truthfully worked. Instead of trying to lie to yourself and say, yeah, I've got this, I've got that, when you know you don't, just say I'm on the way to it and believe it. You got to believe yourself when you say it. And the way how I allow myself to believe in myself when saying it is by having proof that I'm actually working towards that thing, whatever that is. Yeah. I'm not a money chaser anymore. I know that that's what homicidal people do. And if you put the money first, even in the slow lane, by doing something very basic, like working in the supermarket, for example, not that I'm dissing people who are working in the supermarket, but just for me personally, I wouldn't do that if there was no money involved. Me doing that would mean that I'm putting money first rather than my health, rather than the way of life that I've set for myself. I might actually stop having driving lessons for a bit, because just so that I've given myself more time to actually get the gym instructor qualifications done, and then I'd be having more money coming, which would make it easier to fund the lessons rather than just have the balance go down and down and down and down without it going back up. This has been an extremely bummy period of my life, but it's the same bummy period that's made me realize what sort of person that I am and that I'd want to become, where my values lie. It will certainly improve over time, but yeah, really going in the direction I want now, which is what I've allowed myself to be go further along this path in the space of a year. I had to make a start from somewhere. I just had enough on the 20th of August. I had enough after force feeding myself the instant noodles. I said I had enough. I start tomorrow. I start changing my diet again. I start making an attempt to change my diet again tomorrow, because in April last year I started tracking my meals for 2 weeks straight, and then I stopped. I was weighing it by eye, even though I had no experience of weighing meals before. My sister allowed me to use her scale. She was speaking to me about that, and she was saying that my measurements could be rather inaccurate because I've never measured by eye before. I had no experience of weighing my food before, and I was just measuring it by eye. Yeah, I was probably saying 300 grams of rice. Seeing 300 grams of rice in my eyes was probably like 100 back then, but now I have a clearer understanding of how much things weigh just by eye. I'll probably be able to more accurately guess. For example, in the small saucepan that I'd have, like just being able to fill The bottom now probably be around over 100 grams, maybe 125 grams of raw pasta, for example. Same with the rice, if I just putting it in the rice cooker. Yeah. Instead of having white rice all the time, I'm now having brown rice too. I might have jollof that's there downstairs though, because I haven't gone shopping line. I'm feeling really hungry. Yeah. If I eventually, I think over next year, I'll stop eating my mum's food completely. I'll probably just like the freedom that I'd have with the meals that I cook too much. No one could tell me, oh, you're using too much oil, like how my mum has. No one could tell me, well, you're not doing it right. There's just freedom in exploring. There's no, you can't do this, you can't do that, which they were telling me with the getting a job during school times, and even with the 2-day water fast that I wanted to do, and I only did 1.5 days, but even still they say no, you can't do it. I'm just not going to tell them if I'm doing those sorts of things anymore, because I need to progress. And if that means I do those sorts of things to progress, that means I do those sorts of things to progress. Like taking a water fast, for example. I'll probably just take it 1 day instead of 2, because I got an ulcer by doing 1.5, let alone 2. I just started thinking, with the way how my body was feeling, I was listening to it, and it was, I think I just thought I was doing more harm to my body than good, than helping my body out past a certain point in that day. I think unhealthy foods started tasting even more strange. After eating more healthily, slowly but surely, I'm just starting to like those sorts of foods. Takeaway especially, a lot less. I'm eating a lot more healthily now, and I like that. Sure, less money, no money coming in at the moment, but I could change that with this personal training route I'm going down. I'll be having a lot more money coming than that customer service than I would with the customer service stuff that's coming that I was doing in the past. There's so many ways that my life's changed, but I can't even think about all of them. I really can't. Like, mental health has improved. Physical, my physique is a lot closer to what I want it to be. I don't feel so sluggish or low down all the time. I'm not complaining as much, nowhere near as much as I once was. I used to do that a lot during A-level times, and there was this one girl that fancied me. I've spoke about her before, called her Lazy. It was rather ironically, because she'd be getting very. She was very academically inclined. Just put it like that. But yeah, she would always speak to me during break times without fail when she liked me, and before I gave her the Instagram. I don't know if it was me that asked for her Insta or her that asked for mine. I don't remember. But ever since that point, went downhill. And I might not be able to see her again, but if I do, I'd just like to apologise for sending the text saying hi to her on her personal phone number, even though we hadn't directly exchanged numbers. I used her phone. She allowed me to use her phone to call my dad, because I didn't have any credit on my phone to ask him where's he at. And then from there, I asked if I could go in my dad's call history to get that number, because I just, not out of malice to try and creep her out, but I think I did that, and fair enough. Not fair enough, I did it, but fair enough she was creeped out, because we didn't directly exchange phone numbers. If we had, then that would have been different. But yeah, I didn't have any malice towards getting her phone number and saying hi. I didn't have any malice. I didn't want to creep her out. I just wanted to have a conversation with her, like how I would on Instagram. But as soon as I sent that text, I immediately regretted it. it just started to dawn on me how creepy that was. And I just like to tell her, sorry, I'm sorry for doing that. I didn't mean to do it out of malice, but I can more than understand why she removed herself from speaking to me in school past that point. I more than understand, and I know to never do that again. I'd like to tell her in person that I'm sorry for doing that, and not even necessarily wanting her number after it, but just having a deep conversation with her about that'd be nice. But some things you might not, genuinely might just not get. Hey, we might see each other in the future, we might not. Hey, we might date in the future somehow. We don't know. You don't know. But I don't know, she was looking kind of stiff. she just looked, not, is on edge the word, kind of like cramped together maybe? I don't know. Just something, it was just something about her personality that just seemed stiff. I don't know. But anyway, I was unironically saying sorry, and then I said, oh yeah, she's stiff anyway. No. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, my situation very basically has changed a lot more in a way I like compared to in a way I dislike. Just the money's lower, but I'm the most mentally stable I've ever been in my adult life. I'd much rather be a lot more mentally stable than I've ever been in my life, in my adult life, compared to having more money come in. Because the money, I'm not a money chaser. I'm not doing that. That's what homicidal people do. That's what all those artists are talking about. My mindset started to change on that as well after watching documentaries related to black on black crime and all of that. And one thing someone said that I've mentioned in recent videos is the fact that the teenagers, not teenagers, youths, he said the youths have developed a casual attitude towards violence. And after hearing that, it stayed in the brain, and I can't unbelieve that after hearing it. I agree, there's so much evidence of what he's saying. There's so much evidence proving that what he's saying is true everywhere, amongst more so the drill scene than grime, than like from the mid-2000s, which is what I usually listen to after, just because I wanted to sound cool. But then that meant that I was listening to extremely violent stuff. Eventually, slowly but surely, as I went further down the rabbit hole of listening to that sort of music. But I could stop listening to that sort of music now because I now know the truth. I think I'll remove myself from that a lot more than in the past, because that was an extreme eye-opener. Instead, I'll probably watch documentaries more so about black on black crime, because that's making me open my eyes a lot more about that sort of tough guy persona that they might try and put on or naturally just have, because they've been raised in a hostile environment and they've just been hostile 24/7. Yeah. I've got a whole anyway, I've got a whole load of ways that I wanted to change. Let's try that again. Got a whole load of ways that I want to change by August 2023. I'd like to go further down that personal training route by becoming a gym instructor, being able to provide those services, and maybe even being able to provide the personal training services. I want more money coming in and I want to be able to handle my finances a lot more effectively than I am now. I'd like to have more, I'd like to be able to cook more tasty and healthy meals. I said I wanted to improve I wanted to improve my concentration ability. I've been concentrating a lot on this. I think just making videos on what I want to do for the day in the morning will probably help with that. I want to improve my relationship with how I use the phone and YouTube. I said sleep routine, cold showers, how interesting my life is without the phone, friendships and dating, waking up and getting up early, and reducing bumminess in general. Like, stop no longer wearing clothes with holes in it and not wearing these rags tracksuit bottoms. I don't mind wearing tracksuits, but only to go to the gym rather than everywhere. I just had enough of that after a while. I might talk about why I'd like to change these ways in another video, but I might leave it at that for now, because the brain, I'm not feeling extremely overstimulated, but I am a little bit. And not only that, but my throat started to feel sore because I've been talking so much. I might actually make another video on that and make it like a plan for how I'd like to improve by August 2023 or something like that, because I'm feeling hungry. I'm feeling my throat's feeling sore. I've got to upload the video as well. I am done. I really want to focus on these and make a long video about it rather than just trying to skim over it, because this is my life that we're talking about here. It's not just something that you just skim over. I got a whole load of things that I wanted to talk about, a whole load of topics that I wanted to talk about that I might not have done, so I might need to actually make a part 2 for this as well. But I think I'll leave it at that for now, yeah, because this video is long enough as it is. So I'm gone. I've made this video now. It's done. I can tick it off my plans. There. I've been going at this for like 5 hours, man. And that's just for today on the 17th of August when I've been wearing this long shirt, excluding what I was doing last night on the 16th, just collecting all the clips together, and also excluding all of the plans that I made on the 7th of August for this video. Like, a lot of planning has gone into this, trust me. So, like from here, yeah, here. What I'm covering over is just the plans that I set on that day that I didn't really even achieve. And then here, this is all the planning that I did for the general topics that I wanted to talk about in general. And then I made more specific plans. But yeah, this is done now. I'm done. I'm gonna go eat and then get this video uploaded. But anyway, like I said, it's gonna be out by the 21st of August. So yeah, I'm gonna upload this video and get it scheduled so that actually does happen. But for now, I'm done. Maybe you enjoyed, maybe you learned something valuable. Past a certain point, I didn't. Past a certain point, it's just been so long. It's been so long. I've been making this video today alone for 5 hours, like 5 hours straight, and I've just had one Nutella sandwich. I'm done. I do like the topic, don't get me wrong, but overdoing it just makes me like things less. But I'm getting through it fairly easily. I'm getting through it rather easily, if I'm being honest, because I know I like this topic, and I've been putting every day into this. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'll probably talk more about that in the future. For some reason, I want to also talk about the fact that recently I started making videos on a private channel that I'm not going to show here. I'm not going to give a link to or anything like that. The reason why I made it maybe, well, I changed it from the blue to red for that I used the blue to red channel that I used to make red pill videos on, because I was interested in those sorts of videos back then, because I was looking to improve and change my life, even all the way back then, but I just didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how. I was just trying out different things, really. And I've changed it to help me out with other stuff that I talk about in my life that I want to progress in, that I don't talk about on camera here. Yeah, I changed it maybe a couple of months or so ago. I don't remember, and I'm not going to give receipts for that. But yeah, I'm done for this video. It's finally done. I can finally export it and get rid of most of the clips that are on my camera roll. I'll see you lot in the next one. Cheers to having part 2, explaining how I like to change by August 2023. And cheers to having a 2-year life transformation journey as well. Then 3, 4, 5, and so on. I'll see you lot later. Let's see where we're at by year 2. It's got to be far. Maybe much further than I expected, but yeah, it's going to be far. I don't know how far, but far. Much more. I'll be a lot more on that path that I like, that's for sure. Pass my driving test, I'd imagine. Pass the driving test. Money's coming in a ways that I want. Maybe more than one source of income. Ooh, we'll see. We'll see. My health in general will just be much improved. But I'm done for now. See you lot in the next one. Peace. If these sorts of things are taking extremely long, that's probably a solid sign that you are really. Sorry, let me try that again. If you find that there's a lot to say with these sorts of things, if you're making videos about like life transformation journeys and how your life's progressing, you find that there's a lot to say, like how I found that there's a lot to say, then that's probably a sign that you really care about this, that you really want to carry on going on in this journey, and you find that you've got hours worth of content. Don't if there's advice, if anyone's looking for advice, I say don't shorten it. Don't try and shorten it to like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. No, this is your life that you're talking about here. How could you have only 15 minutes to show for 1 year worth of efforts and time? How have you managed to shorten 8,760 hours worth of time into 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or maybe even 1 minute with the body transformation journey videos, for example, the bullshit, the BS. But yeah, if these sorts of things, you've got so much video footage that you want to upload it. Upload as much as you want to truthfully upload. That'd be my advice. And that for me means hours worth. Not no short video, not no 10-minute video. That's ridiculous. I'm not trying to cover for people's low attention spans. Not low, small attention spans, or short attention spans. There you go. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going out my way to 10 for other people. If people think that there's useful advice from these videos, great. If not, so be it. That's not anything that I can control. And I'm not going to go out my way to try and really please these people. I'm not like that. I'm pleasing myself. And that's meant I've become the most mentally stable I've ever been in my life. And my life's been the furthest it's ever been in living, in terms of what I've done to do what, in terms of what I've done to be able to live how I want to live. Not how my friends would want me to live, not how my family would want me to live, no, how I want to live. I don't really have any friends anymore, if I'm being honest, because I didn't keep in touch with friends from school. I didn't make much of an effort to do that. One in particular I did, but other than that, nah, not really. And then most of the people immediately eliminated. Most of the people that I was in school with haven't spoken to them since results day. But yeah, if there's a lot of footage that you find you have and you're speaking about these sorts of things for very long periods of time, upload the full thing. Why not? If it's hours long, why not? It shows how much passion that you have. It's not, passion is something you show, not something that you say you have. If you really like something, that will show. I know that I like this, and it shows with how long that these videos are. I know I care about this, and hence I've made it a highly edited piece so that there are receipts there for what I'm talking about and proof that I'm telling the truth. But yeah, I'm done. I've got some extra images that I wasn't able to fit in the final project, so here we are. But anyway, I'm gone. I'll see you lot in the next one. Cheers to year 2. Cheers to 2 years worth of transforming my life. Then 3, then 4, then 5, then 10, so on. Hell yeah. Cheers. Onwards we move. But for now, I'm done. I'll see you lot in the next one. The extra images that I wasn't able to fit are now going to play, but I'm gone. I'll see you lot later. Bye. Onwards we go.